What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, and I do sincerely apologise for being 5 minutes late. I was recording with Mark and I went over by a few minutes, and I do apologise. But I am here now, and I'm ready, and I'm good to go. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about tonight, we'll talk about the AFCON, we'll talk about Mohamed Salah, we'll talk about the game coming up against Manchester United as well. As always, ladies and gentlemen, proud to say we've been brought to you tonight with thanks to our friends at Manscaped. You can go over and get the Performance Package 4.0 or anything that your little heart desires at manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping using our discount code WFM20. You know how great the products are. You know how much I love them. You know how great they are at supporting fan content as well. So if you're looking for something a little bit special for somebody for Christmas or an early present, do go over to manscaped.com and look at their fine wares. And as I said, 20% off and free shipping. Right, ladies and gentlemen, how are we? Again, I do apologise for being a little bit late. I have a few bits and pieces that I was just dragging up on screen here as well. But look, what do we want to start off with tonight, my friends? It is your show as always. Connor's a great man for lashing over and saving my ass with... so look, a little bit of news here from the Liverpool perspective. Obviously, David Malik of the Mirror has said that Kloppo is hoping that we will have Thiago available for the game, and I don't want to give away too much of what I spoke about with Mr. Goldbridge on both of our channels. One video will be coming out on Anfield Agenda tomorrow, another video will be coming out on the United Stand then on Saturday, and actually they're very different videos, so I think it's worth watching both. But I was saying to Mark how important I think Thiago could be in this game for Liverpool. For me, ideally, don't want to give away my team selection yet, but midfield for me, Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho would be my ideal trio to go to Old Trafford. So I want to just get a little bit of a feeling what you guys think about it, and of course we'll get stuck into the AFCON stuff as well. Right, what have we got in the chat? Again, we'll definitely go through the AFCON stuff. We'll talk about the mess that's been made about it, when the players should be called up, when they might be called up, what games they might miss, and all that kind of stuff as well. But what do we think about the game of the weekend? So will Curtis Jones be back? Let me just see if Connor sent me anything on Curtis Jones here. 1 second. What was this one about? Fabrizio Romano quotes here from a podcast as well, talking about... Oh yes, I think he was talking about Rafinha, if my memory is correct on this one. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. Who's this one? Grant. Oh, Adeyemi. Grant. Sorry, folks. I'm just playing a little bit of catch up here. I'm on the fly. I'm going on the fly here. So, Thiago. Yeah, look. According to David Malik, it looks like Jurgen Klopp is hopeful that Thiago will be available. Obviously, himself and Curtis Jones didn't travel over to Madrid with the rest of the squad. They stayed behind at Kirby to make sure that they could be as prepared as they were for this, or would be for this game coming up at the weekend. So, yeah, I'm both really looking forward to it, folks, and I'm also petrified because you don't want to lose this game. Oh, it's Daka. Sorry, Daka. Grand. Let me pull up that then. What Connor said me about Daka. So, speaking on his podcast, the Here We Go podcast, Fabrizio Romano was talking about Patson Daka, who of course scored 4 wonderful goals for Leicester in their Europa League game against, I think, was it Spartak Moscow? I know it was in Moscow. He said he had chances to join many Premier League clubs. Many clubs were interested. Liverpool this summer had a strategy: sell players and then eventually sign players. If they had sold Shaqiri or Origi in the first few days of June, they had a chance to sign Patson Daka because they were really interested in him. They never made an official bid, but they still had interest in this striker from Salzburg. Then it collapsed because of the timing of Shaqiri, who was sold in August to Lyon. So a little bit frustrating there, I have to say. I mean, Fabrizio Romano clearly knows what he's talking about. And for me as a Liverpool fan, seeing Patson Daka banging in 4 for Leicester, it feels like one missed, unfortunately. And I don't know if it's an indictment of where we are, if it's brilliant financial management, but I would lean on the side of how could we not have put together 20, 22, 23 million quid to sign Patson Daka, because he looked as close to a guarantee for goals as I could think of. So, yeah, a little bit frustrated by that one, but Leicester have got themselves a good player. Rian Daly said, Craig, I purchased the Lawnmower 3.0 and I love it. Thank you very much. No need to thank me, my man. Thank you for showing the love, and thank you for, believing me when I said it's a good product, because it really is. I wouldn't come on here and try and flog people crap stuff. The Manscaped make really good products, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope that your balls are thanking you, because that's the guarantee, isn't it? Do you think the trio of Thiago, Henderson and Fabinho could dominate the midfield game in the Premier League, or the game in the Premier League? Yes, look, To me, that's the dream. Going to Old Trafford, you got your defensive midfielder in Fabinho. You've got Jordan Henderson, who can do a bit of everything and will help Trent on that right-hand side. But to me, Thiago is the key to this game, because we might have a fairly high amount of possession at Old Trafford, because I feel United will probably set up to play on the counter, and we might need that little bit of magic that Thiago could open up, or the stuff that he makes look easy, keeping the ball moving it quickly. And I think midfield could be important in it, particularly if United, and I hope when I look at the team sheet I see McTominay and Fred in there for Manchester United rather than Paul Pogba. But if they do go with McTominay, Fred and Bruno Fernandes, I think it could be there for the taking. I really do. Yes, we know Thiago's still out, mate. If we go back to the start of the video, we spoke about Thiago, dude. But David Maddock said that Klopp was confident that he could be available for the weekend. So yeah, if Thiago's available, I think for me he has to start. Outside of him, Keita. But are any of us really confident that we know what we're going to get if Naby Keita starts the game? We know what Naby could deliver, but we don't know which Naby Keita would show up. So I'm praying, that, well, I'm not a religious person, but I'm hoping that we do have Thiago available because I think Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho is the midfield trio for that game, in my opinion. Will Salah be out for the Man United match? God no, Salah be sound for that match, mate. No worries about Mo on that one. Mo will be fit, firing, and ready to go. For those that don't know, actually, Mohamed Salah was doing a bit of filming today in the Chinatown district of Liverpool, and he looks in a good place, and he's ready to go, Mo, isn't he? I mean, what a man, what a player. What's your prediction for the United game? I'm going to record that. It'll be out on Saturday, Fade. 2-1 win. Look, I'll let you know that much. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. I think the opportunity to put 7 points between us and Manchester United at this early stage of the season would be pretty damn good, if I'm honest with you. And look, even if we were to draw the game, I still feel like it'll be a missed opportunity, because we have to keep an eye on Chelsea. We have to keep an eye on Manchester City, of course. Chelsea have a very, very handy game against Norwich this weekend. With all due respect to Norwich, Chelsea, even without Lukaku and Timo Werner, should be able to swat them aside rather easily. And, if they open up a 3 or a 4 point gap over us at the top of the league, we don't want to be playing catch up, even after 9 Premier League games. So if we can get a win at the weekend, it keeps us in touch and distance right at the top, and it creates a bigger gap between us and United. And that from there on, I think we start focusing on trying to win the Premier League. We're obviously going to be trying to do that now, but if that gap is created, then it's us, Man City, Chelsea. You're looking at a 3-horse race then straight away. So yeah, all good. And Madame Tussauds, yes, as well, Mohamed Salah's wax work was unveiled, and I have to say it's pretty good. Height wise, he looks a little bit bigger than Mohamed Salah is, but yeah, I think they did a good job at Madame Tussauds. So yeah, Mo looked happy with it anyway, and that's the most important thing. Craig, on Sunday you should go live with Mark Goldbridge. We were talking about that actually right at the end of the video on the United stand, and we're saying that maybe for the game at Anfield, I'll go over to the UK and we'll be in the same room together and we'll do a watch along together for it, because it would be something a little bit interesting, and I think it would be great. So yeah, maybe we'll do that for the game at Anfield. City have a hard game against Brighton. It is mad that we're saying that, isn't it, by the way? That's massive credit to Brighton that we're sitting here saying City might have a tough game against Brighton, because Brighton are they're a pretty damn good football team at the minute, and I just think the way Brighton play football will play into City's hands. It's like Liverpool, when we play Bournemouth, when we play Brighton, when we play like Atalanta last night that United played. Those of you who joined me for the watch along at Craig Station will know at half time I said United are 2-0 down here. Don't write them off in this game yet. They have every opportunity to come back in, because some sides just play to your strengths, and with Liverpool, when we play a team that are attacking, I think it usually suits us. And on that, I think it's very interesting that Diego Simeone's Atletico, I think Klopp got into his head this week, because that isn't the way that anybody expected Atletico Madrid to play. And I think that Diego Simeone took the comments from Jurgen Klopp on board and felt that maybe he had a point to prove to show that his Atleti team can play an attacking, expansive game of football. And when that's the case against Liverpool, I'll always back us to get the better of a team doing that. So Yeah, I'm in great form. I'm really looking forward to this game. Have I seen Barcelona stadium plans? I haven't looked at them yet. Connor was telling me about them, but I haven't had a chance to look at them. But yeah, where are they getting the money from is obviously question number one. Do I think Thiago could be a Liverpool legend? Ooh, there's a long way to go for that, to be fair. Thiago's place in world football, I think, his status as a great midfielder is intact and will remain intact. But to be fair, if we're talking about being a Liverpool great, he's got a long way to go yet. Which attackers would you personally want at Liverpool in January? The one I don't think Liverpool will do any business in January, if I'm being really honest. Unless an injury comes up. Look, do I want us to sign players? Yes, of course I do. Jeremy Doku, Adeyemi, who we'll speak about in a few minutes' time as well. We've been linked with Jared Bowen in the past as well. So do I want Liverpool to add attacking players? Of course I do, particularly with this shit show of an AFCON, which I'm going to move on to now in a second as well. So people saying Rafinha, they won't tell him in January. There is no chance whatsoever that Leeds move Rafinha on in January. Think about it this way. Leeds right now are 3 points above relegation, if I'm right. They're right down that end of the table. So their goal here has to be to remain in the Premier League. And I don't think Leeds will be near the relegation zone by the end of the season. But Rafinha, much like Marcelo Bielsa, has committed for the season. And I don't see that changing. Next summer would be great to look at the likes of Rafinha, who apparently on his Here We Go podcast again, Fabrizio was saying previously that Liverpool were one of the clubs interested in looking at Rafinha. Wake up, Craig. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and read comments and my brain can't process two things at once. Right, what else we got? Let's have a little look at the image that I brought up here, actually, on the AFCON. So for people who aren't aware, we believed originally that the AFCON was only going to see Liverpool players miss a couple of league games, maybe a League Cup game or an FA Cup game. But the way it's set to go now, the African national teams could, the players from Liverpool, so Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, Naby Keita, their countries could call them after the game on the 27th, or the game on Boxing Day 27th? After the game on the 27th, they could be called up, which is way earlier than Liverpool and the clubs in England that have players gone to the AFCON were thinking that these guys were going to be called up. So let's say that they are called up on the 27th, which is at least a week earlier than Klopp was hoping for. We would miss the lads for both of the games against Leicester City, a game against Brentford as well at home, travelling away to Crystal Palace, the FA Cup third round, and if we're in a League Cup semi-final, that potentially as well. And that's the difference between these players going on the 26th, 27th of December, and these guys going away on the 3rd or the 4th of January. I hope common sense prevails and that the way the rules are being looked at and how FIFA allow countries to call the players. So I hope common sense prevails and we get to keep the lads for the game, the game's up until the 3rd, 4th, 5th of January, because it could be make or break for our season. And I know that sounds a little bit over the top, but I don't want the lads missing for games against Leicester City. I don't want the lads missing for a potential semi-final in the League Cup. So I hope, again, not knowing exactly when the dates are for those, I do hope common sense prevails, because we cannot afford to lose two of our attacking quartet of players for 6 to 8 games. That's more than any of us had expected. And again, I feel like I'm always banging on about international football and how ridiculous the fixture calendar is, but we have another international break next month. So that's 6 to 8 international games that some of these guys will have been asked to play on top of their league commitments. And now we have next winter, we've got a World Cup, which should never be taking place in winter, which means an earlier start to the season, which means a shorter break. And now we've got the AFCON crammed in as well, which looks like they're dragging out even longer, which means not just Liverpool. I mean, there's a whole host of Premier League clubs who are going to be without players. From Chelsea's perspective, obviously Edouard Mendy, for them, he could be called away as well, and they could be without their first choice goalkeeper for a longer period. So the calendar is just a disgrace right now, folks, and I hope that it can get resolved in a sensible way, and that the clubs, it's not constantly clubs versus country, because with all due respect to the international teams involved in any of these international breaks, it's Liverpool or United or Chelsea or Man City or Arsenal who pay their players the wages. The players play out of national pride, of course, for the countries, but FIFA are going to have to realise that at the end of the day, these lads are superstars because of what they do in the Premier League and what they do in the Liga or what they do in the Bundesliga, and they need to sort it out because it's becoming a real headache for the managers. Why would they miss that many games? Because it looks like, mate, that instead of being called up on the 3rd or 4th of January, it looks like they could be called up a week earlier. So the last game we'd have the lads for would be the game on the 26th or the 27th of December. It's a real clusterfuck. I don't know what else to say about it. I feel for all the clubs involved because it'll affect Liverpool, of course it will. But, you know, it will affect other clubs as well. And I just hope that Klopp gets lads for the extra game or two at Liverpool and then, you know, let them go represent the countries and do their best at the AFCON and, you know, hope we get them back without any injuries. So, yeah, it's a bit of a headache. For mentioning Arsenal, you should lose your title of Lord. Well, they do have some players going away to the AFCON and stuff, don't they? And look, they're in a shit show already. Like, they need all the help that they can get at the minute, don't they? Right, what happens? If this happens, City could consider themselves lucky. I feel like we say that a lot. You know what I mean? Even with the last international break, I feel like, you know, their players, they get away with too much for my liking with regard. But I don't want to get into the Manchester City stuff. That's, yeah, that's not for today. What have we got? Special Reconnaissance Regiment said, I try buy Coutinho back on the cheap. He's shite though, mate. I don't understand why this fascination still exists with some of our fans about Felipe Coutinho. You get him cheap enough. I don't disagree with you on that. Barcelona can't get the guy out the door quick enough, but I just think for us, what is he now? 28, 29, Felipe Coutinho, coming off the back of a long-term knee injury, and he's only started playing football again. He's never hit the heights that he did at Liverpool since. So for me, that ship has sailed. Would any of the United team make into our first 11? You know, I stayed away from doing a combined 11 for the game, but I think you probably find a way to get Bruno Fernandes into the Liverpool team. I mean, it's really difficult because I'll be the first one to admit Greenwood, excellent footballer. Rashford, very good footballer. Ronaldo, one of the greats. Bruno Fernandes, quality player. David De Gea, very good goalkeeper. Luke Shaw, good left back. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, good quality right back. Centre backs, I wouldn't swap either of our centre backs, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't swap Varane or Maguire for Matip and Van Dijk. Now look, obviously Varane's CV is exceptional. He's a very good centre back, but no, not for me. There's very few. Fernandes at a push, maybe. Fernandes and Ronaldo. Outside of those two, and even at that, I don't see Ronaldo getting into our team from a work ethic perspective, but the man's quality is there for all to see. So Fernandes and Ronaldo are the only two I can really think of. Pogba, look, yes, there's an argument for Paul Pogba. Of course there is. Paul Pogba on his day can be unplayable, but again, if we're talking consistency, Fabinho, I take Henderson. I take Henderson over Pogba. I'm not even joking with you. For the Paul Pogba we've seen at Manchester United, for consistency, I'd have Jordan Henderson. You know, who was the higher ceiling? Obviously, Paul Pogba is capable of much more, but for me, that's it. I wouldn't really change it. Look, that sounds really harsh. I know it sounds really harsh because there are very good players in that United squad. David De Gea, I think the world of as a goalkeeper. I think he's an exceptional goalkeeper. I think Luke Shaw last season was the best fullback in the Premier League. That's just my opinion on it. Last season. I wouldn't swap Trent for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, even though Aaron Wan-Bissaka is excellent defensively. And I wouldn't swap Salah for anybody. So, yeah, it sounds really harsh, but that's genuinely the only ones I do. Have you and Goldbridge made up ahead of the game? There was never any problem between me and Goldbridge. I've said this all along. We just recorded an hour and 20 minutes worth of content together. Had a great laugh doing it. He's my mate. if we have a disagreement, we'll sort it out behind the scenes. But I think other people try to make a bigger deal out of it. But for me, anyway, he's always going to be somebody I trust and somebody I get on with. So for me, there was no issues. Loads of stuff coming up. I know people were tuning in tonight, by the way, wondering, was it going to be myself and James Redmond? James had a little bit of filming to do that got switched last minute. So James will be joining me tomorrow night. And the good news keeps on coming. Jack Gill is going to be returning to your screens really soon as well. Jack Gill is going to join me going forward on Thursdays with James Redmond as well. So it'll be now myself, Jack and James on Thursday. Myself, James and Steve on Monday. Jack is going to host his own show as well once a week with a panel show with maybe Chris Stonage or Paddy Murphy and stuff like that. So yeah, the band's getting back together. 7 of us now involved in the channel making content. I think we're going somewhere special. I think you guys are going to get some really good content as well. And I'm really excited about it. I miss not having Jack involved. Loved having James, Paddy and Chris involved. Love Steve as well. It's going to be class. I can't wait. I'm like a big child today, which is why I'm smiling. That's good. Miss you on the other channel. And man, I miss being over there as well. I said this at the time in some messages with myself in Goldbridge. 99% of the people on That's Football in the audience were absolute quality, but it was like a perfect storm that one day where there was a bit of an overlap of content and I just didn't have any moderators at that moment in time. But look, hey, it is what it is. Dara, welcome in as well, Mr. Azizi. I hope you're well. Bernadette, Mick Wall, all of our moderators as well. Joanna, I hope you're all keeping well. Wouldn't be able to function without your amazing help. Right, let's keep going. What questions have we got? What do we want to talk about? Anfield agenda is just improving and improving. I'm so happy you said that, Adam, because I think so. I really do. I'm so proud of the group of guys that we have. And look, I'd like to add a few female voices in. Let's be honest. I mean, I miss having Cash involved and stuff like that. And I'd love to add a female voice or two to the Anfield agenda team of contributors. I absolutely would. I think we've got the best group in the game now from a Liverpool perspective. I really do. For me, I'm always a fan of the Anfield Rap. I think they make amazing content. I had a tall subscription for years, but on YouTube, I think myself, James Redmond, Jack, Steve Bland, Chris Stonage, Paddy Murphy, Kyle from Nothing But Reds. I mean, that is 7 people that I'm very proud to be able to have associated with the channel. So yeah, I'm over the moon. Over the moon. Do I think Ronaldo will score on Sunday? He's got as much chance as anybody of scoring. I mean, Ronaldo's one of those players, isn't he, that mightn't be in the game for 88 minutes, but we seen last night for United against Atalanta, one good delivery into the area and Ronaldo rises up and scores the winning goal. So he's not the same Cristiano Ronaldo that he once was, but you know, he's always going to be a threat, isn't he? Craig, I miss Mundo Sporto. It's still there, mate. We just rebranded the name. It's called Craig Station now. Same channel, same subscriber, same everything. And yeah, I do watch-alongs on there as well. So Adeyemi updates, no problem. Let's just pull up this here. Connor sent me this. So Liverpool linked forward discusses his future. So Karim Adeyemi has been linked with Liverpool since this summer. This story comes from the Echo via Hoyt, who I believe are a German publication or an Austrian publication. So the Salzburg forward, who's apparently interested in Bayern Munich, may only be 19 according to the Echo, but has already scored 12 goals this season. He's netted in the 3-1 win again against Wolfsburg in the Champions League. Following that up, I think he scored 2 penalties in the game before that and at least 1 penalty in the Champions League in the game before that. And I've said to you guys, my honest assessment of the Adeyemi links is, 1, very good player. I would have no issues with Liverpool bringing him in, but I think from what I'm reading and from the vibes I'm getting from him, he wants to go to Germany. And this article here suggests that there may have been talks with Bayern Munich. I think that was the case. If my memory is correct, I think he was at underage level at Bayern Munich before he moved to Salzburg. And I just feel like he's going to end up at Dortmund or Bayern Munich. I do. I can't lie. I just feel like that's where he's going to end up. And he's been speaking about when he said, I'm very relaxed about it all. I feel honoured, but nothing more. I have my focus here on Salzburg. We play well together. It works perfectly. First of all, I want to progress with Salzburg. Then we'll look further. Would I be upset if Liverpool threw in a bid in January for him? Absolutely not. The guy looks quality. And to lose Patson Daka, another quality forward, and have him replaced so quickly with Adeyemi, who looks a supreme talent. It just goes to show about the scouting and the recruitment there at Salzburg, and again them being able to give guys the what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Give people the stage to show their wares, show their talents on. So yeah, it's I'd love it to happen. I would, but I just get the feeling that Adeyemi wants to stay at that next point of his career. And it's understandable if he wants to go to Germany because that's where he started playing football. Austria, obviously, very close, similar style of football. For his time in his career, like Chiesa, it didn't surprise me at all to see that Chiesa's father and Chiesa wanted him to perhaps platform. That was the word I was looking for. Yes, mate, that was definitely the word I was looking for. It didn't surprise me to hear that Chiesa wanted to stay in Italy for a little bit longer. Sometimes I think it is about timing with these moves, and some players just feel more comfortable and perform better in environments that they're used to. So yeah, I just don't get the vibes off Adeyemi that a move to the Premier League would be next on his list of priorities. Whereas with Jeremy Doku, I do get those vibes because, as I said to you guys many times, Liverpool brought Doku over when he was, I don't know if it was 15 or 16, and they showed him around Melwood, they showed him around Anfield. And again, I'm working off memory here, but I'm almost certain that Anderlecht asked Romelu Lukaku to have a little word in his ear and try and get him to stay there a bit longer, which he did, and I think now's the right time. So yeah, I think Doku, if I was moving money towards an attacking player, I think Liverpool will bring in, whether it be January or next summer, Jeremy Doku right up at the top of the pile for me. All I want is Bellingham next summer, said Olakunde, Olakunle. And I'm with you, dude. I'm fully on board for that one, but I have to admit, I don't know where the fuck we get the money from. Like, if we're hearing Fabrizio Romano speak about this summer and saying that Liverpool couldn't even afford Patson Daka until, well, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth. Maybe he wasn't just talking about the finances. Maybe he was talking about the squad places as well. But to say that Liverpool couldn't move for Patson Daka until Origi and or Shaqiri was moved on, that's not a great thing to hear when you're only talking about 23 million quid's worth of a player there and not the 80, 100 million that Jude Bellingham might cost. So that worries me a little bit, but I'm also not surprised by it because it's very FSG to do it in that way. So yeah, what do we do? Like, how do we fund these moves? Because I think Liverpool have probably moved on. I won't say dead wood because I find that very disrespectful, but fringe players. So who's left? Origi, perhaps, if he gets moved away. Minamino, I don't know what the story is with him long term. If, let's say, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was to move on, who buys him and how much would that free up? So, yeah, I don't see us doing too much in January, other than maybe a serious injury or something like that. Red Cannon said, our model shot us in the foot this summer on transfers. Yes, to some extent, but I often speak as well about continuity, and the fact that we were able to renew so many contracts this summer is a massive thing in itself. It's not sexy to us football fans. It's not a new signing who's going to sell a load of shirts or whatever, but it is very important that the spine of the team is kept intact when they're heading into their prime. And Mohamed Salah, that's the next job to get done, isn't it? Because Salah, 29 years of age, he's on track to score another shit ton of goals this season. He's in a wonderful moment. He looks like he's in a good place emotionally, mentally, physically. And if Liverpool can get that over the line, then happy days. It's all good. But if we don't get that over the line, every week, month, day that goes by, we become a little bit more worried, don't we? So I get the feeling it'll be done. I get the feeling that Liverpool will get Salah's contract sorted. Is Salah missing 8 games? So again, for those coming in a little bit late, happy to recap on it. Let me just grab the image up off my screen. Right, so if we're looking at the AFCON, the potential is that Liverpool could lose the lads for 2 games against Leicester City, a game against Brentford, a game against Crystal Palace, the FA Cup third round, and potentially the League Cup semi-final if Liverpool were to get that far. That's based off the projected call-up for the AFCON, which looks like it could be as early as the 27th of December, whereas everybody originally believed that Liverpool or any of the Premier League clubs would only start losing the guys from the 3rd or 4th of January. So fingers crossed that common sense prevails, and the lads don't have to go away for that many games. Plant or Alvarez, Canelo's going to kill him, Dara. I mean, like, literally go through him for a shortcut, because Plant is after pissing off Canelo, and that's going to come back to haunt them. Sorry, gone off topic there a little bit. Again, ladies and gentlemen, just quick little hi. If you were enjoying this stream, please do hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video. We are pushing on, heading towards 123,000 subscribers because of your amazing support. And as I said, for those tuning in late or coming in expecting to see James here tonight with me, James had to do a little bit of filming today down in London, so we just rescheduled it for tomorrow. So it'll be myself and James Redmond tomorrow night at 8:45. We normally struggle in January, so going to be a tough month, but if we're top of the end of January, we will win the league. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Honestly, I think if we win on Sunday against United at Old Trafford, that puts a 7-point buffer between us and United, who are then going into a run of games that sees them play some really tricky fixtures over the next 5 or 6. For us, we will have played then City, Chelsea, United, I think we've played another couple of tricky games as well, haven't we? So for us, it's a good start to the season, but I think I'm with you. If we're there or thereabouts in January, the end of January, I think we're there all the way, and I think we're fighting for the league title. So, yeah, again, I hope this is the season that we start to change the norms, because we've seen us perform better in the Champions League away from home this season, which, you know, goes against the form that we've had in a few other seasons. So I hope that we don't get the usual slump or blip that we have around the festive period. Yeah, I hope that you're spot on, and we are there or thereabouts in January. You just ordered your second lawnmower for your granddad. Nice. Well played, sir. I hope you used the WFM20 code, my man. But if you did, thank you. Really appreciate your support. The Red Sea podcast, it'd be great to get you on the show. So drop us an email, dude. I mean, I think I'm going on LFG Transfer Room tomorrow. Just waiting to confirm that with Chris. I think I'm going on there tomorrow at 6. But yeah, man, just drop us an email, contact@AnfieldAgenda.com, and if I can, you know, I don't say spare the time, because that sounds really up my own arse. If I can fit it into the schedule, happy to, my man, be my pleasure. Why is Salah missing 8 games? The AFCON. It's not just Salah, by the way. You could be talking Salah, Sadio, and Naby Keita. And it's because the way that the AFCON is now... How do I say this without rambling on? So, originally, Premier League clubs thought that the players were only going to be called up for the AFCON from about the 4th, 5th or 6th of January. But now, it looks like possibly the lads could be called up from as early as the 27th, which would be a kick in the teeth for a lot of Premier League managers in what is a really, really busy part of the season. So I hope common sense prevails, and that Jurgen Klopp and the other Premier League managers are able to speak to the national bodies and just try and fucking say, look, you don't need the lads 10 days out from the tournament, a week out from the tournament, hopefully be enough, and the lads will be able to play those 1 or 2 extra games, because it is a really important part of the season. And again, in that list of games that we spoke about, 2 games against Leicester City there, 2 very difficult games. So, yeah, fingers crossed. The AFCON starts, I think it starts on the 8th, if my memory's right, the 8th or the 10th of January. If Klopp, what's this? In Klopp's early days, we struggled in midwinter, but he learned how to manage them. He just needs to stop bringing them off for little mid-season breaks to Malaga or whatever it was, or to, it wasn't Malaga, was it? Marbella. Yeah, we need to just fucking knock that on the head, because that seems to be a jinx on us. Right, what else we got? Any more comments, questions, ladies and gents? We've got about 10 minutes to go, so I think I've gone through everything I needed to go through, but you guys want to throw into the chat or ask about, please do. Again, video with Mark Goldbridge on Anfield Agenda will be coming out tomorrow at lunchtime, so I hope you guys have your notifications on for that one. I'll be live tomorrow with James Redmond from 8:45. I think Mark said the video on the United stand is going to be going out on Saturday. And also on Saturday, I'll put out my preview, my predicted 11 score predictions and all that stuff as well. Favourite lager? Ooh. San Miguel or Corona? Either of those. Yeah, San Miguel or Corona, 2 favourite lagers. After that, Heineken. You used the code WFM20. I didn't put you in a timeout. I didn't put anybody in a timeout, mate. So I don't know. One of the mods might have put you in a timeout, but I haven't timed out anybody in this stream, dude. I haven't even been able to focus on the chat that much and been able to time you out. So it wasn't me. Will you come on FTB/Cop Talks channel? Don't know who that is. Again, though, anybody who wants me to come on, without trying to be rude, best bet, just email me. contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. If I can come on anywhere, I'm always happy to do it. Thank you, The Vibe, man. Much appreciated. Right, what else have we got? Do I agree Virgil hasn't been the same player this season? Maybe injuries playing on his mind. Yes, I think you're spot on. And look, it's to be expected. You know, Van Dijk isn't 22, 23, 24 anymore. He's a 30-year-old man, and it was a very, very serious injury, 10, 15 years ago, a career-threatening injury. So, I mean, for Van Dijk to come back as soon as he did, and look, I know it felt like an eternity to us, but it was relatively quickly, shows his commitment, shows how far sports science has come on. But I think it would be only natural for any of us to be second-guessing our body a little bit, particularly when you're just starting to come back, and it could be six months of the season before we really see Van Dijk hitting the heights that he's capable of. But what I would say is shout out to Joel Matip in all of this, because I think Joel Matip has been the perfect partner to help ease Van Dijk back in. And I think if Matip hadn't have been as fit and available as he has been, I think Jurgen Klopp might have had a bigger headache in his hands. So yeah, I think we'll see Virg get back to his best, but I think it's only natural that there are some lingering doubts in his mind about his knee. I think we'd all be in the same way. Do I want Firmino or Jota to start? Firmino. I have to say, I'm so fucking happy that Bobby's shown some return to form. And it was interesting to hear Jurgen Klopp speak about the fact that Bobby Firmino didn't really get too much of a full preseason, and that he's only starting to play catch up now, and he's only starting to get back up to the levels that he would have hoped to have been at. So yeah, look, really quickly, don't want to give it away, but my front three would be Mane, Firmino, and Mohamed Salah. I mean, yeah, I think that's the three, and let Jota come off the bench if needs be. Dara said we knew AFCON was coming, no excuses. See, I don't buy that, mate. I understand where you're coming from, but we knew AFCON was coming, but we didn't know AFCON was coming with regards to maybe missing 8 games. We thought the lads were going to miss 4 games, 2 league games, an FA Cup game, and potentially a League Cup game. But with the way that, FIFA are doing the call-ups, we could end up losing the lads for 8 games, which, again, on top of the fact that we had to do without Fabinho, and we had to do without Alisson for the game against Watford in the Premier League, due to no fault of the clubs, it just seems like FIFA are doing everything in their power to make this a fucking headache for everybody involved. And again, yeah, as Billy Little there in the chat has said, it was a summer tournament, or it was a January tournament, then it was a summer tournament, now it's back being a January tournament again. It's just a shit show. No, Matip won't be going to the AFCON. He has he's refused the call-ups again for Cameroon after he stopped. He asked not to be selected again for Cameroon, and then there was conversations around would he come back, and he's decided no, not to go back. So, do I go fishing? No. God, I couldn't think of a more boring thing to do than fishing. I wouldn't be able to sit still that long. So, I know, look at me, I don't look like somebody who's always on the move, but sitting still, going like this, not really my cup of tea. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call that one a night. Again, lots of stuff coming up tomorrow. Please do hit the subscribe button and drop a like on the video. Don't forget, I'll be joined by James Redmond tomorrow night. Really looking forward to that one. And the preview with Mark Goldbridge should be out around lunchtime tomorrow. So really appreciate your time tonight. I'm sorry that I was 5 minutes late at the start of the stream. That's completely my fault. And I'll try not to let it happen again. But shout out to our sponsors, Manscaped. Don't forget, you can go over to manscaped.com. Use our code like our friend did in the chat there earlier on, WFM20, to get yourself 20% off and free shipping throughout anything on the site. Whether it's an early Christmas present or you just want to treat somebody special in your life, you won't go far wrong with Manscaped. Look, thank you, love to you all. I hope you're having a cracking night. I'm looking forward to chatting with you all tomorrow again. And appreciate your support in the channel. Lots of love to all of you. And